Good evening. Welcome to News 9. We are live from our studios at Northridge in Accra. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 277. We're active on social media, facebook.com/Metro TV Ghana. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Here are stories making headlines tonight. Lawyers for Chinese Galamsey Queen Aisha Wan for the third time failed to secure bail for their client, and 3 others stand in trial for charges of participating in illegal mining and operating without a license. Also coming up, residents in the Ketu South municipality embark on a massive demonstration against the activities of 7C Salt Mining Company after a woman and her 3 children died in a mining pit suspected to have been dug by the company. And later on in business, former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe says the government will have problems justifying accumulated debts incurred over the period in its talks with the International Monetary Fund. And later, we take you to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where that country has declared an end to its latest Ebola virus outbreak, according to officials there. We have details of these and many other stories, including sports and entertainment, coming up shortly. Stay with us. Thanks for choosing us. Now, the IMF team is currently discussing policies and reforms with officials at the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank after Ghana requested a loan from the fund in July. In an interview with Metro News, the former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe says the government should prioritize expenditure cuts as it works to improve its revenue flows.
Ghana began talks with the International Monetary Fund on Monday for an IMF-supported lending program. The government said in a statement that this is in a bid to reduce economic hardship that spurred street protests. Speaking in an interview with Metro Business, the former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe says the government has to embark on expenditure cuts as a measure in its engagement with the IMF.
We're told there was an enhanced program. We thought it was being discussed with the fund, confidentially. Now, yesterday's release is that the program is being put together. Yes, it could be an enhancement of that, but we haven't seen it. So it's very difficult to speculate. But if you ask me from what we have done in the past, it's about the fiscal. The fiscal is creating problems for everything. So it's about revenue, it's about expenditure, revenue, more generation. If you can generate more revenue to cover expenditure, then it must be expenditure cuts. And then you look at your debt and see, how you can restructure it so you can go back to the markets confident that you are now about to, exercise the fiscal discipline that is required. And then it goes on. And if energy is the issue, then of course around the table there's a World Bank and others who help. They are the real sector guys. If it's health, you tackle them. It's Ebola, if you remember, or COVID was health. They were health issues. But if you have bad roads, it's a road issue. Then you look at. So all those things will be reviewed, and including Bank of Ghana's measures. Is it right for Bank of Ghana to be financing 22 billion out of 37 billion in half a year? It appears the Bank of Ghana is underwriting the whole deficit.
According to him, the NDC was more proactive in its fiscal discipline even under the IMF program.
Well, we have the opportunity to compare the two and to know that Bank of Ghana merely financing government just is an incentive for government to be spending. And when I say government, the entire government, but more particularly Ministry of Finance, and the agencies and the sector ministries, who may think that it's a bottomless, as they say, test. No, it has limits. So I think that we are learning from those experiences. So it wasn't easy to do a zero financing, but it made us, we were then focusing more because GIFMIS was not an IMF condition. Creation of GRA was not an IMF condition. We started most of those things. ESLA, which we did even whilst we were in the fund program, was not dictated by the fund. This sector debt, the doomsday debt, to which was borrowing from the banks, and therefore, if you paid VRA, the subsidy you couldn't pay during those times, they can pay the banks. This is how the banks come in. People say, what has ESLA got to do with? That's a simple explanation.
The government is also putting together a post-COVID-19 economic program that will form the basis for negotiations with the IMF. The program will aim to ensure debt and microeconomic stability through key structural reforms and social protection.
Let's bring you one of our headline stories for tonight, as lawyers for Chinese galamsey queen Aisha Wan have for the third time failed to secure bail for their client and 3 others who are standing trial for charges of participating in illegal mining and operating without a license. There's more in this report filed by our court correspondent, Elvis Ando.
The court presided over by Sylvester Bright Aqua denied the plea by lead counsel Nkrabea Effa-Dartey to have his client Aisha Wang and her accomplices in the ongoing case of engaging in the sales and purchase of mineral without valid license contrary to Section 99 Clause 1 of the Mineral and Mining Amendment Act 2015, Act 900, and mining without a license contrary to Section 99, Act 3 of the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 900. According to the court, the depletion of the ecosystem by this act, illegal mining, is detriment to the safety of the environment and aquatic creatures in the sea. Whilst in court on Tuesday, September 27, counsel for the accused gave several reasons why the court should grant his client a bail application, as she is not a flight risk. He further told the court granting the galamsey queen a bail application will help him in his case, as it is difficult to get access to her at where she is being kept due to the many security protocols one has to satisfy before getting to Aisha Wang. In their objection to the submission, as argued, the prosecutor rebutted, the rights of the accused persons are paramount, but justice is not a one-way traffic. The prosecutor prayed the court to deny bail application on the fact that the accused persons, when remanded into police custody, will aid the continuation of investigations. The case has been adjourned to Wednesday, October 12, 2022.
Right, so Captain Nkrabea is the lawyer for Aisha Wan and has joined me via Zoom for a conversation on the back of this. Good evening, Captain. Welcome to Newsnight. So what do you make of the court's decision to deny your client bail for the third time? Hello, Captain. Can you hear me? Right. We're finding it difficult to get into contact with Captain Nkrabea, who is the lawyer for the accused, to tell us what he feels about the court's decision to deny her client, the client in the person of Aisha Wan, bail for the very third time. We're trying to connect with him to find out his opinion on that. I understand we have him back on the line. Captain, good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Right. Grateful to have you join me tonight. Now, what do you make of the court's decision not to grant your client Aisha Wan bail for the very third time?
Well, let me say that the court has denied my client bail, not for the third time, but for the second time. But this particular court, that is Circuit Court 9. This is the second time it has denied court bail. And honestly, I feel very uneasy and most uncomfortable, because today, when the case was called, I made an application for court bail. I reminded the court that on 14th September, when we came, the court denied us bail. I told the court that according to the Martin Kpebu judgment by the Supreme Court, the court has jurisdiction to admit the client to bail, I referred the court to the Constitution and emphasized that there are Ghanaians all over the world, and they are not denied bail just because they are Ghanaians. And so we should not deny bail to these, my clients, just because they are Chinese. And that is why I reminded the court that the court has power to state conditions that will guarantee their coming to court. In spite of all this, of course, I must concede that the police prosecutor countered my arguments, and the judge, to my surprise, did not agree to bail because, in the judge's opinion, in the judge's own view, the water bodies are being destroyed. The Ghana water is getting concerned about the security of our water supply system. And so for these reasons, my Lord denied bail. Honestly, I was disappointed, I must confess.
Right. Do you think this is a deliberate attempt not to grant your client justice by denying her bail continuously?
Well, I wouldn't say it is a deliberate attempt. I would say that my Lord took a different view of the law, which can be seriously impeached at the High Court.
Right. And your client is also a persona non grata. Don't you think it is in place that the court rightly denied her bail again?
Well, my Lord did not say so. My Lord did not say that my client is a persona non grata. My Lord did not make any reference to any reason regarding her being in the country, whether lawfully or unlawfully. My Lord said nothing about that. And at any rate, make no mistake, there is no court which has declared my client as being a persona non grata in Ghana. And the Minister of Interior has not declared her a persona non grata. The head of state, our president, Nana Addo Dankwa, has not declared her a persona non grata. A letter by the director of Ghana Immigration Service does not constitute a persona non grata order. So please, it is an erroneous view. It is a wrongful proposition to say that my client is a persona non grata. She is not.
Right. When next are you going back to court, and what are your expectations ahead of that day?
Well, my Lord fixed the case for next hearing date on the 12th of October. And I'm conferring with my colleague lawyers as to whether we should attempt a bail at the High Court. But be it as it may, given the situation as it would be by that time, I would want to repeat the application for bail and see whether my Lord's mind may have changed by then.
Right. Major Captain Retired Ifa Nkrabia Data, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. He's a counsel for Aisha 1. In other stories, also related to illegal mining, soldiers under the Operation Halt 2 initiative have arrested one illegal miner and confiscated 12 excavators after they stormed mining sites within the Achumampunya and Amansia South districts of the Ashanti region. The team, which embarked on almost a 24-hour operation in the areas, also destroyed 3 excavators and impounded a car and a motorbike. A visit to the various sites showed that vast lands within the 2 districts have been badly destroyed due to illegal mining operations. The illegal miners, upon seeing the military team, fled the scene, leaving behind their equipment. Abdul Basit Suleiman is our man on the ground in the Ashanti region, and he joins me via phone to tell us more on this. Abdul Basit, grateful to have you join me tonight. What more can you tell us? What have you gathered about this operation?
Yeah, Ken, good evening and good evening to our viewers. The issue of illegal mining has become a canker in this country for the past years. And just 2 days ago, task force of the small scale mining went to
Hello, Abdul Basit. Right, we're finding it difficult to connect to our resident correspondent in the Ashanti region, Abdul Basit Suleiman, who's on the beat for us to tell us what, the military in that area did to the items and equipment they seized. We try to connect to him again to find out what has become of the situation. So soldiers under the Operation Halt 2 initiative have arrested one illegal miner and confiscated 12 excavators after they stormed mining sites within the Achimampunya and the Mansa South districts of the Ashanti region. Now, the team, which embarked on almost a 24-hour operation in the area, also destroyed 3 excavators and impounded a car and a motorbike. A visit to the various sites also showed the vast lands within the 2 districts have been badly destroyed due to illegal mining activities. Now, the illegal miners, upon seeing the military team, fled the scene, leaving behind their equipment. Right, I understand we have our correspondent in the Ashanti region, Abdul Basit Suleiman, back on the line. Abdul Basit, I believe you can hear me now. You were making a point.
Yeah, you can.
You were making a point. Go on.
Yeah, I was saying, the illegal mining issue has been a canker in this country. There have been several investments to curb the illegal activities of these miners, which, yes, still we are still battling with. The Small Scale Miners Association have formed a task force, and they were at Achimampunya 2 days ago, where they were able to destroy about 300 champagne machines which are being operated on River Offing. And yesterday, to a military task force also went to 2 districts, as Amansie South and Achimampunya. Each of the districts, they were able to seize 6 excavators each and arrested 1 person who were all doing illegal activities within those districts. The excavators, 6 of the excavators have been deposited at the Datano police station for safekeep, whilst another 6 has been also deposited at the Achimampunya District Assembly. Only 1 miner was arrested. The focus of the task force was not to arrest, but to destroy the machines that they were using in the illegal activities along the Offering River and other water bodies within those districts.
Right.
And according to the military officers, they will continue and fight these illegal miners. So they've seen that the water bodies are clean.
Right. Basit, is there information that some chiefs within the area could be part of these illegal mining activities?
Well, that's what the small-scale miners were alleging, that they know there are some chiefs who are involved in illegal mining activities, and they've even vowed that they will start exposing these chiefs who are involved in these illegal mining activities. Most of these lands belongs to the chiefs, and if even the chief is not participating directly, definitely has. What they normally do is, if there is a pit, they do and share. Assuming you are an investor or you come for a pit from a chief, you divide it by 2 or by 3. One of the shares will come to the chief, and the rest will be on the one who invests on the activity. So yes, there are some chiefs who are actively, or others too who are not actively involved in the illegal mining activities within these mining communities, particularly in the Ashanti region over here.
Right. Basit, and we'll also hear that the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners have actually been leading a task force for a 2-day operation along the banks of the Offin River and actually arrested some illegal miners. Give us details of that.
Yeah, the Small Scale Miners Association have been pressing on government to even give them the opportunity or give them the power to operate and to arrest this illegal mining, because they know where exactly the illegal mining activity is going on, because they are on the field. Most often the military will come, they will not even go to
the exact place where the illegal activities are going on. Yes, they were able to arrest and destroy about 300 champagne machines situated in the middle of a river. Most of these activities are going on in a river, a place like Odaso, where residents of Obuasi get their sources of drinking water. You see a machine, champagne machine inside the water where they are doing the illegal activities over there. The small-scale miners have been to this and they were able to destroy these equipment. But they are just a task force of an association. They don't have power to arrest. They don't have power to do any other thing apart from destroying these machines. So they are calling on the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to support them, even financially and with equipment, so that they will take upon themselves with their own resources to be able to fight these illegal miners, because most of their miners is also being affected by these illegal activities. So they will take that upon themselves and fight for the nation as well. So that is exactly what is going on within the mining communities here in the Ashanti region.
Abdul Basit, thank you very much for that update. He's our resident correspondent in the Ashanti region. Still on illegal mining, the communications director for the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, says the ongoing trial of Aisha Wan proves that Ghana's laws can work if upheld. He called on government to ensure anyone caught in illegal mining faces the full force of the law.
I think some of us said it's good to start the prosecution, the laws which affect Ghanaians, or the laws which we use to protect our territory. That same laws should be used to deal with the foreigners. So we are following it keenly, and it's good that government is going that way, because Aisha Wan has been a threat to the country, because every time Aisha Wan's name has been popping up for more than 5-6 years now. So if government is bent to take the action, I think we are all happy and we are grateful about that. We are very worried, because every day, every time, it's about small scale, small scale, small scale. And we are having sleepless nights here and there. That is why we even we are using our own small resources to empower our monitoring task force team to also be on these river bodies, and then we take it up from there. Because if you look at the whole thing, I've been saying it. Look, we have only 2 things whereby the nations decide to stop it. I think they will not have this Galamsey issue, especially those on the river bodies. We can take them within 2-3 months. The nation can take all of them out of the river. And then those in the forest reserves.
In other stories tonight, the Attorney General says government is keen on advancing the fundamental human rights and obligations under the international human rights laws to ensure the rights of the minority are not marginalized. Godfrey Dame was speaking at the 77th General Assembly meeting held in New York to commemorate the 13th anniversary of adopting the rights of the minority.
It has always been government's agenda to ensuring that the rights of the minority are ultimately protected. Reiterating this fact at the 77th General Meeting in New York, the Attorney General, who doubles as a Minister of Justice, outlined measures employed by the government in strengthening the adoption of the International Declaration on the Right of Persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious and linguistic minorities.
We solidarize with the people belonging to minority groups and remain concerned about the disproportionate suffering they are subjected to in conflict situations, including their vulnerability to forced displacement, obstacles to education, and other attendant effects resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. Marginalization and discrimination against minorities require a more holistic and comprehensive approach in addressing their situation.
Touching on how this move will empower women and girls to ameliorate various forms of abuses, he had this to say.
There is the urgent need to empower minority women and girls to help ameliorate the various forms of abuses they are subjected to. This, we believe, can be addressed by urgently considering measures embedded in economic support and stimulus packages that reflect the needs of women who face multiple forms of discrimination. The introduction of interventions such as helplines, psychological support, and online counseling is recommended.
The minister added investing in media literacy and education aimed at advancing technology-based solutions to reach women and the marginalized minority will address the challenges they face entirely.
Ghanaian journalists have been urged to discharge their duties with the highest form of professionalism and resist attempts of being bribed by powerful actors in the society to influence their works, as it can mar their integrity.
At a workshop organized by Corruption Watch in Accra, CEO of Defense Security System Raymond Archer admonished Ghanaian journalists to make integrity their biggest hallmark. This, according to him, is the only way the work of a journalist will be considered credible.
But as with everything that you do, you cannot isolate yourself from the community that you work. And so some of our work, we hope that the media can benefit from it so that we can develop a community of practice because the media that gets things out. And so this was a very important program where we bring a colleague journalists together to share their experiences and to share practices so that they can network and collaborate to ensure even more effective ways of dealing with these issues.
The technical advisor of investigation at Corruption Watch, William Nyako, entreated journalists to look out for one another. He urged media practitioners to be vocal about their problems and challenges just like they do for others.
You cannot be entrusted with having oversight responsibility over some body or an institution when you yourself have questions to answer. That's why I said that they said hypocrisy is coming from the den of the corrupt to request or require integrity from others. So if you really want to succeed in an area where you have been given the responsibility of oversight, then you yourself, they say he who seeks justice must come with clean hands. At least you, the journalist, must be clean, must have integrity. But integrity works for both ways. First, it shows in your work. People take it serious because of that. It also builds you up. It builds your credibility for future endeavors.
The Corruption Watch workshop seeks to educate journalists on the dangers of being influenced by money in their line of duty and the reward that comes with maintaining integrity.
Residents in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region have embarked on a massive demonstration against the activities of 7 Seas Salt Mining Company after a pregnant woman recently died in a mining pit suspected to have been dug by the company. Residents are warning they may be forced to take the law into their own hands if no action is taken.
Clad in red and chanting their anger through traditional songs, the angry residents marched through some principal streets of Denu to Toko and La Clevikope before presenting their petition to the municipal chief executive Maxwell Kofi Lugudo. Some of the residents spoke to Metro News.
Government in its right senses knows that this very lagoon is where we get our daily bread from. So he only granted the Adina concession to the government, to the white man, excluding from Agoko to Denu and Tokon and Eastern Barracks, because government maybe wanted to fish here. But some unscrupulous people connive with the company to sell the rest of the lagoon where we are supposed to be fishing.
There are so many deaths that have been recorded since this whole thing started, and we've spoken, we've demonstrated, and this is our last resort. So the next step will be to form some some serious group, and we'll go to the court to seek for justice.
According to the spokesperson of the group, Sylvester Kumawu, activities of the 7 Sea Salts needs to be checked before more deaths occur.
Recently, we had a mother and 3 children dying at the spot. This is very evil. We have called several times on our MCs and our chiefs to come to our aid, but to no avail. This time around, we are taking the law into our own hands and protesting against the government. And this is not going to be the end. We are going to test the law.
The Municipal Chief Executive Maxwell Kofi Lugudo received the petition and assured actions will be taken.
We inherit both the liability and the asset.
Metro News will keep you posted.
Need to make an urgent call, but you realize you don't have credit, or your very important conversation was cut short because you ran out of airtime? Cut the stress, because all you have to do on MTN is dial *506# and you get to borrow credit on MTN Extra Time. The best part is you can also borrow data by dialing the same number, that is *506#, and you can bundle data whenever you run out to continue browsing as always. Your conversations don't need to end. Borrow extra time now and enjoy the things you love on your favorite network, MTN. This is Newsnight on Metro Television. We'll be back after this break. You're welcome back to Newsnight. Now, the General Secretary of the All-African Conference of Churches has urged other African countries to emulate Ghana's burgeoning democracy. While interacting with President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House on Tuesday, Fidon Mwambeki said the peaceful transfer of power in the Fourth Republic is a model for the rest of the continent.
The All-Africa Conference of Churches is a continental and numerical organization inaugurated in 1963 as a fellowship of Christian churches and related organizations. It includes 134 member churches from 39 African countries. Ahead of its upcoming conference, General Secretary Fidon Mwambeki commended Ghana for the peaceful transfer of power over the years, a reason for which the country was chosen to host the event.
Most countries would aspire to be like Ghana. True. Politically. True. There are not so many places in Africa which are there as an example of a growing democracy, where change of political offices is done peacefully, not by consensus as in all elections, but we have not seen the violence, the demonstrations, the destruction, just because of election. They know that in Ghana, especially at that time in 20.
"16 children, including a 14-year-old pregnant girl, have been rescued after nearly being trafficked from the central region to La Côte d'Ivoire. The children, according to the rescuers, were being trafficked into forced labor and forced marriages. Chief Executive Officer of the Challenging Heights NGO, James Kofi Annan, said the rescue brings the total number to 57 in 2022 alone. Challenging Heights recently released a comprehensive report on child labor, which revealed that over 60% of all children found along Lake Volta villages are involved in child labor. The report did not isolate those found in forced labor, although there is evidence to show that there are over 20,000 children found in forced labor on Lake Volta alone.
Challenging Heights has, within the month of September, supported the rescue of 24 more children from human trafficking in fishing. 8 of the children were rescued through the organization's conventional approaches, while 16 of those children were rescued on Ghana's borders with its neighboring countries. The children rescued were made up of 6 girls and 18 boys, with one of the girls being pregnant at the age of 14, bringing the total of the children the organization has rescued so far this year, 2022, to 57 children.
Out of 4,799 victims detected in 26 sub-Saharan African countries, 3,336 were in West Africa, including 2,553 children.
As Ghana government readies itself to draft the 2023 fiscal policy, Challenging Heights is calling for increased investment in the budget to support state agencies which are at the forefront of fighting against human trafficking and modern slavery, particularly the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Ghana Police Service, which is in dire need of vehicles for their operations.
The new data from the International Labour Organization, Walk Free Foundation, and the International Organization for Migration shows that 49.6 million people were living in modern slavery in 2021, almost 10 million more than the previous global data on the issue. Of the figure, 28 million of them were in forced labor, while 22 million were trapped in forced marriages, with over 26.7 million of them being females. Winston Taki standing by with the latest in business after the break.
Welcome back to News 9 Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki. And now to a fourth business story. The government may face complicated refinancing options in repaying Treasury bills that will mature in October 2022, according to the weekly fixed income update by Data Bank Research.
A financing offer on October 3, 2022 may not get much traction due to the expected domestic debt restructuring. It's therefore pointed out that the government will likely supplement any financing offer with the Bank of Ghana support to get more favorable refinancing options. Last week, Fitch Rating downgraded Ghana's issuer default rating from CCC to CC. They cited possible debt restructuring, high debt service, and constrained financing as reasons for the recent downgrade. This is expected to complicate the refinancing option of the Treasury bill on the maturing paper on October 3, 2022, as pricing for a refinancing offer will likely be unfavorable. The government is expected to offer 905 million Ghana cedis across the 91 days to 182 days bill to reference total maturities worth 786.6 million Ghana cedis. The Treasury bill fell short of its auction target during last week's September 23, 2022 T-bill offer for the first time in 15 weeks. The shortfall in uptake was mainly attributed to subdued bids, with total bid submitted constituting 89.59% of the auction target.
Many Ghanaian industries are currently struggling to survive following severe impact of global economic shocks witnessed in the last few years. That's according to the Western Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Joseph Gabra, who is calling for renewed energy among members to enable them reposition the local economy for sustainable growth.
The Association of Ghana Industries is an umbrella organization hosting industry operators in Ghana. The association, largely driven by private sector companies, primarily works with relevant stakeholders and government, as well as state institutions, to produce and create jobs for Ghanaians. The organization has held its annual general meeting and a workshop for its members in Takoradi in the Western region. Addressing members, Western Regional Chairman of the Association, Joseph C. Gabra, explained why many private companies in Western region are currently struggling to survive.
Price of oil, gas, and certain outbreak products have risen, intensifying inflation pressures. Price hikes and shortages have thus disrupted several industrial productions and severely threatened the survival of most businesses and livelihoods.
He appealed to government to support industries to remain in business.
This year, our businesses have been reeling under higher than expected inflation. Inflation is now more than 31%. And the fast depreciation of our city against major trading currencies. And that has triggered higher cost of production and doing business.
The chairman of the umbrella organization also had this to say.
Investment, innovation, technology, services and finance provision. That the private sector can act as a fundamental anchor to promote and contribute to sustainable and inclusive industrial development and prosperity for all.
That'll be all for business here on News 9. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next.
My name is Feo John Quartina. It's time for sports. Let's go straight to Spain, where Ghana are engaging Nicaragua in the second international friendly ahead of the
Gutiérrez Bucari que recentra el cabezazo de Barrera, el rebote Daniel Kofi Quiere, Iñaki William que no puede, Kofi Quiere remata al arco, tapó la selección de Nicaragua. Aquí está Lidú de zurda, le envío, ¡gol! El jugador del Sporting de Lisboa.
La presentación del guardameta dejaban a Gutiérrez en velocidad, llegaba flete. Normalmente cuando vemos la reiteración de la jugada dejaban a Gutiérrez, llegaba flete, pero mucho mejor Forbi que...
Más bien, aquí está Mohamed, gana Kudus, sigue Mohamed, se quitó a uno, se quitó a otro, mete en el borde del área, le va a quedar solo, el remate que terminó siendo centro de acá atrás para Mensah. Kofi.
Nos salvamos, Octavio, porque no hubo combinación, no hubo entendimiento en este caso. Harla, muy habilidoso.
20, Mohamed Kudus, el jugador del Ajax de Ámsterdam.
Y yo te lo dije, era de los jugadores a destacar en la previa, que ya lo decíamos, es un jugador joven que milita en el Ajax, que es un equipo que se caracteriza por tener mucho talento joven. Cuidado que viene Iñaki Williams.
En el área, Iñaki Williams la deja retrasada, saca a Cristian Gutiérrez. Cristian Gutiérrez Bucari que recentra el cabezazo de Barrera, el rebote Daniel Kofi Quiere, Iñaki William que no puede, Kofi Quiere remata al arco, tapó la selección de Nicaragua. Aquí está Lidú.
So those are highlights when Ghana play against Nicaragua in Spain. The match actually ended. It's 1-0 in favor of Ghana. So they seem to have redeemed themselves after being beaten by the Brazilians earlier on in the first match played last Friday. Let's focus on Hasselhoff, because about 6 hours ago we're being told that they parted ways with their head coach Samuel Boadu. Let's get a thought of a former manager of Hasselhoff, Mohamed Polo.
It does. You are right. It does. But there are certain things that sometimes you have to take some decisions that you think whether it's a risk, you have to take it. That is, you remember what Kotoko did. Kotoko also took a decision, that affected them in Africa. And we don't know what is going to affect them, whether it will affect them in Nepal. But with the heart and
But those are the thoughts of Mohamed Polo, who used to be the coach of Accra Hasselhoff. Just before we go away, let's get a thought of a sports writer, one who has been following Hasselhoff all the way. We're talking about Sheikh Tawfiq, who says that the decision was coming.
I wasn't surprised. I knew Boadu would be sacked, but I did not expect the sacking to come this early.
Okay.
Considering the result that the club kept, churning out,
yeah.
I wasn't fully confident that Boadu would be able to continue the job. He won the league for Hasselhoff in his first season. Let us not forget that the season was started by Edward Odum. It was continued by Costa Papic. Ninoy played a part in the league, and then Boadu came along the line to finish the season. That is when we saw him win the league with Hasselhoff. You understand?
Yeah.
then after winning the league, winning the FA Cup, and then technically winning treble, the preceding season, which Boadu himself started the entire season, Boadu finished 6th on the league table, performed very poor in Africa. We could forgive him because it's his first time, perhaps, lack of experience. But the league, he won it the previous season, so at least he should have finished in the top 3 or the top 2. But he finished 6th. He was able to.
You heard the voice of Sheikh Tofik, a sports journalist, who says that the sacking of Samuel Boadu as coach was coming and was ready on the wall. Well, that's your sports. Up next, Showbiz.
My name is Isiodua Akumiane. It's time for some showbiz news. Now, speaking on what his motive is when making a record instead of a song, Kamido stated on Entertainment Review that one of the things he considers is longevity. He went further to distinguish between a hit song and a good song.
Yeah, and one of the things I consider is longevity, right? It's one of the key things I hold firm. Like, I want to build over time and become like top of the food chain. Do you understand? And I feel like Rome wasn't built in a day. So I don't always chase hits, like I don't chase making hit songs. Like I can make a hit song today. In my opinion, I don't have it all figured out, but in my opinion, a hit song is just one that everyone knows. Like, it's just one that is as popular as, all of the ones that pop up every time. A hit record is like a blown song.
Okay. So it may not necessarily be a good song.
So when some people from the studio, they listen to a record and they be like, yo, this is a hit. It just basically means that it kind of has the potentials of, a song that can just become popular in no time.
That everybody can sing.
Do you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times it's mostly about songs that have that potential. It's like, okay, this is what is popping now. So once you jump into that BPM and that kind of genre, it's easy to be played after the popular ones in a system. So that's how I see it, in my opinion.
Well, that's it for Entertainment News. My name is Isiodua Akumia. Kenneth?
Thank you very much, Isiodua, for the entertainment update. International news is next. The Democratic Republic of Congo has declared an end to its latest Ebola virus outbreak. The DRC's previous outbreak was in northwest province of the country. It was declared after 5 deaths. The country's 15th outbreak comes to an end as neighboring country Uganda races to tackle virus outbreaks of its own. A teacher in India has been accused of beating a student to death over a spelling mistake. According to the police, the incident was triggered by violent protests. The student was struck with a rod and kicked by his high school teacher until he fell unconscious. The police say the teacher is on the run, but he would be arrested soon. A military enlistment point will be opened on the border between Russia and Georgia, where massive queues have been formed as Russian men try to flee the country to avoid being sent to fight in Ukraine. Thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight. We came to you live from our studios at Northridge in Accra. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, have a good night. It is brought to you by MTN.